Jefferson Hope's unforeseen death from a ruptured aneurysm in his prison cell abruptly closed the investigation, rendering the magistrate's hearing unnecessary. Found lifeless the next morning, his expression was calm and serene, as if he had achieved a personal sense of resolution. Sherlock Holmes, reflecting on the matter, noted that Hope's death would likely disappoint detectives Gregson and Lestrade, who had been eager to bask in the public acknowledgement of the case. Holmes downplayed their contributions, pointing out the discrepancy between genuine accomplishments and how they are perceived by others. Holmes considered the case straightforward, yet rich in lessons. He shared his insights on reasoning backwards, a method he deemed essential for solving such mysteries. Unlike the more commonly used reasoning forwards, predicting outcomes based on a sequence of events, reasoning backwards involves deducing the steps that led to a particular result. Holmes illustrated this approach by recounting the key moments of his investigation. At the crime scene, Holmes began with no assumptions. Observing the roadway, he identified tracks from a cab, distinguishing them by the narrow width of the wheels, which set them apart from those of a private carriage. He concluded that the cab had been present during the night. Moving to the garden path, made of clay soil, Holmes analyzed the footprints. Amid the heavier marks left by constables, he found earlier tracks belonging to two individuals. From these impressions, he deduced that one visitor was tall, based on the length of the stride, and the other was fashionably dressed, inferred from the smaller, more refined footprints. Inside the house, Holmes confirmed the identity of the well-dressed individual, whose lifeless body lay on the floor. From this he concluded that the taller visitor was likely the perpetrator. Examining the victim's face, Holmes observed an expression of agitation, ruling out natural causes of death, as such deaths rarely leave visible signs of distress. Detecting a faint sour smell on the victim's lips, he deduced that poison had been forcibly administered, a theory supported by the victim's visible fear and hatred. Holmes reached this conclusion through elimination, determining that no other explanation fit the evidence. He added that while forced poisoning was an unusual method, it was not without precedent, referencing similar cases from Odessa and Montpellier. Holmes concluded by noting that the central unanswered question remained the motive, a question that underpinned the entire sequence of events leading to the victim's demise. The investigation began with a perplexing murder where nothing had been stolen, quickly ruling out robbery as the motive. Two possibilities presented themselves: a political assassination or a personal vendetta, potentially involving a woman. The calculated nature of the crime and the abundant clues left at the scene pointed to a personal grievance. A significant piece of evidence, a ring found at the crime scene, suggested a link to a woman. Sherlock Holmes turned his attention to the victim, Enoch Drebber's background, focusing on any romantic entanglements. A telegram to Cleveland revealed that Drebber had previously sought legal protection from Jefferson Hope, an old romantic rival who was known to be in Europe at the time. This information became the cornerstone of the investigation. Holmes's meticulous examination of the crime scene revealed vital details about the perpetrator. He deduced the man's height, identified his use of a Trichinopoly cigar, and observed bloodstains on the floor. He concluded that the blood likely came from the murderer's nose, caused by emotional agitation during the act. These observations led Holmes to surmise that the murderer was a robust, ruddy-faced individual. He further theorized that the man who entered the house with Drebber was the same individual who had acted as his cab driver. Tracks outside the house showed that the horse had wandered unattended, which indicated that the cab driver had left his carriage and entered the house. Holmes reasoned that posing as a cab driver provided an ideal means for someone to discreetly follow another person around London. Convinced that Jefferson Hope was working as a cab driver in London, Holmes enlisted the help of his network of street urchins to systematically search through the city's cab proprietors. This methodical investigation led to Hope's identification and capture. However, the case took an unforeseen turn with the sudden murder of Stangerson, Drebber's associate. Despite this complication, Holmes's earlier deduction about the involvement of pills was confirmed, further solidifying the chain of events that unraveled the mystery. The investigation progressed as a logical sequence of deductions, ultimately culminating in Jefferson Hope's apprehension. Tragically, Hope died suddenly while in custody, cutting short any opportunity to uncover additional details about the case, which left some questions unanswered. The crime attracted widespread public interest, and a newspaper article described it as a romantic feud entangled with themes of love and Mormonism. The report revealed that both victims, Drebber and Stangerson, were connected to the Latter-day Saints and had ties to Salt Lake City. The article credited Scotland Yard detectives Lestrade and Gregson for the arrest, relegating Holmes to a brief mention as an amateur detective with some skill in solving crimes. Sherlock Holmes and his companion discuss the conclusion of their investigation, learning that 2 officers are to receive a testimonial in recognition of their efforts. Holmes humorously notes the irony that their laborious work on the case, which he refers to as their study in Scarlet, has resulted in accolades for others. His companion reassures him by stating that the full account of their investigation has been documented in his journal and will eventually be shared with the public. Meanwhile, he encourages Holmes to find satisfaction in their success, comparing it to the quiet pride of a Roman miser who contentedly reflects on his wealth in private.